John 10 and 27. How you doing, sister? What's your name, sister? Shalonda. Sister Shalonda, I saw you over there. You talking to my brother. I'm glad you came back, Sister Shalonda. So, now you understand, he kind of went over a little bit what we was teaching, right? So we showing our people who we really are and what our responsibility to our God is now.
All right.
We got to understand that. You don't know who you are or what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. We going to the kingdom, a kingdom that's going to be established for us. And that's what God sent us out here to do. Teach your people to repent. Teach them to come back to their heritage. Sister, what's our heritage as black people? It ain't, look, I'm asking you that, and you giving me that answer, and it's okay. Because I know you're going to give me the answer, because that's been erased from us. That's been one of the things that's erased, our heritage. Now, we were made slaves, but that's not our heritage. Read, what I had you read?
John chapter 10 and verse 27. My sheep hear my voice.
Christ, Jesus Christ, what color are these words right here you read? Check this out. You read, Jesus Christ said, my sheep, his people, the ones that really listen to him, they're really going to know him, hear his voice.
And I know them. My sheep hear my voice. And I know them. And they follow me.
And they follow him. So now we out here calling to the Most High God's sheep, the Christ's sheep, so they can follow him. That's what we out here to do. We out here to call to our people so they can understand. I do look, sister. So now I asked you a question about our heritage. Let's read what our heritage is from the Bible. Give me Sirach 17 and 11. So now, sister, Shalonda, right? Okay. How old are you, sister Shalonda? Okay, you close to my age. I'm 39, about you close to my age. So you understand, this when they still taught history in the school system, they still taught slavery. You know, like you heard about the critical race theory thing they're doing now. They trying to take slavery out of the school system and not teach it to our kids. Why you think that white people would want to do that?
They don't want nobody to know.
They don't want people to know the evils that they did to us, right? But I'm gonna tell you why it's so important for them to try to take that out, because what you're seeing right now is the reason why that critical race theory is a big topic right now. Us coming out here and teaching this Bible the way we teaching it and showing our people that we are the Israelites according to the Bible, that's why they want to take slavery out of the school system. I'm gonna show you why. All right, read what I got you to read. I'm finna come on. He was over here and he listened, so now I'm finna fill you in, and you're gonna understand exactly why they don't want our kids to know about slavery no more. Watch.
Sirach chapter 17 and verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge.
God gave us knowledge. His people, the children of Israel, knowledge. Read.
In the law of life for a heritage.
Slow that down. Read that word by word. Law of what?
In the law of life for inheritance.
In the law of life for inheritance. So God's laws are the heritage of his people. You know, when we read God's laws, statutes, and commandments, right, we find out what they are. It's more than 10. All right, for one. That's what the churches teach. But it's more than 10. God's laws establish what your heritage is. Establish culture. So, culture is like, what was our traditional way of dressing? God's laws have that in there. Your traditional way of eating, the things that you ate. We didn't eat the defiled food that we eat today. Shrimp, crab, lobster, shellfish, bottom feeders, pork. We didn't do that in there. God wanted us to be set apart and holy above everybody, and he gave us a diet that put us ahead, and he gave us dress code that put us ahead. He gave us his high holy days to put us ahead. Leviticus 23, high holy days like the Passover, the Feast of Dedication, the Feast of Pentecost, the Feast of Tabernacles. We didn't keep Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, all these foolishness that nowhere near even in the Bible. That's our heritage, but that's what they took from us in slavery. Alright, so now, what we doing, if we got to go back to understand why they wanted to, why critical race theory is a big topic right now. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Now you understand, you've heard about in churches, right, they teach you the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. That's the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. A covenant is an agreement, right? That's a contract. Alright, so read Deuteronomy 29 and verse 1. And I'm going to show you this. Now we're going to read the agreement that we made with God, and I'm going to show you how it ties in with slavery and why they don't want to teach your kids that. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verse 1. These are the words of the covenant, which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel.
These are the words of the covenant. What we about to read are the words of the covenant with God made with the children of Israel. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. Read this. So if we're going to read two sides of this contract, of this covenant, and we're going to see who this covenant was made with. You're going to be able to identify who the covenant was made with by what we read. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
God promised his people, you listen and do the commandments, I'm going to put you above all the nations of the earth. It's a great thing, right? Here's the flip side of the whole contract. Just like any contract, terms and conditions go along with it, right? So Shalom, read this. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Now from 1 right there to 14 with all the blessings God said will come upon his people. Now from 15 to verse 68 in the same chapter, the covenant, that's the contract, really. That chapter, Deuteronomy 28, is the contract that God made with his people. So 15, verse 15 to 68 is all the stipulations if you break the contract. Watch this.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou willest not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God said curses will come upon his people and overtake them. Read verse 46. So now, what God said curses will be on his people, and now these curses are going to do something. They're going to be an identifier. If you sign a contract, I know this contract is between me and you. And this is how we know. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign.
So the curses that will come upon you for breaking the contract shall be upon you, Shalonda, for a sign.
And for a wonder.
Something for you to wonder about. Read.
And upon thy seed forever.
Upon your generations forever. So what do signs do, Shalonda? They identify stuff, right? Just like Mill Branch, Winchester, the signs right there. Valero, I know it because of the sign. It could be any gas station, but I know it's that particular one because of their sign. So this is identifying markers. Now, let's read an identifying marker. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Now, these things, I'm skipping around for sake of time, just for you to understand this, all right? But here's a clear-cut sign on who this contract was made with. Now, God is speaking to the children of Israel. This is the contract that he made with the children of Israel. You can see this sign right here. You'll see why we got these names of these people on here. This is the tribal name that God gave them, and this is what they were categorized as. Now, watch this. This is a sign to identify on the contract. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Now, when you learn about the Israelites, remember the Ten Commandments movie, all that, like God sending Moses to Egypt and telling Pharaoh to let my people go. His people were in slavery, right? The Israelites were in slavery to the Egyptians. Egyptians, we know, now regardless of what the movies had back then, you know, there was an old movie, they made everybody white. That is not the case. But the Egyptians were black people, and they slaved. When you look at the pyramid walls, you can look at this stuff right now. The slave they had was black too. Two different groups of people though, because not all black people are the same. Alright? He said, now God said, if you disobey these commandments, I'm going to take you into Egypt again. Let's see what God refers to Egypt as in the Bible though. Because when you're talking about Egypt and the Israelites, that's synonymous with something to the Israelites. That was their captivity. That was in slavery, 400 years. Everybody know that, right? Anybody got a little bit of Bible knowledge understand God's people were in Egypt for 400 years and Moses delivered them. And walked through the Red Sea, right? Read it.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So God said the land of Egypt was what?
Out of the house of bondage.
The house of bondage. Meaning what? Slavery. The house of slavery to the Israelites. So now, we're going to Deuteronomy 28:68. That's the contract, the covenant again. It's the last curse or thing that God said would befall his people if they broke the covenant. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68.
Remember what Egypt is synonymous with. Remember house of bondage. Remember that?
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Into the house of bondage. How?
With ships.
Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
So now you read in the book of Exodus, Moses said, by the way I spake unto thee. Remember in Exodus, when they, right before they crossed through the Red Sea, Moses told the Israelites, these Egyptians you see today, you shall see no more again. So he wasn't lying to them. Those people never went back into Egypt as slaves again. So what is he telling them? You're going to go into slavery again with ships. Egypt again with ships. That's not the same Egypt. You're going into another house of bondage. This is future prophecy. Go read it from the top again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Shall bring thee. This is a future prophecy. Shall. It's going to happen again. You all are going into slavery again if you break this covenant with ships. So when did the Israelites go into slavery as a nation on slave ships? When? When we read in the Bible, we don't see that nowhere, right? But guess who went into slavery on slave ships? Because the Bible's a true book. It's talking about the people that's on earth that God created. So who went into slavery on slave ships, Sister Shalonda? Who did? We did. Who was God talking to right here? Did that happen to anybody else, Shalonda? What's your nationality, Shalonda? What was you before slavery? African American is what? Two continents, Africa and America. That's a name that they gave you. If the people that done us like that, are they going to really tell you who you are? Are they going to teach you right if they don't treat you right, Shalonda? What did God say would happen to his people? Read it again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
To the house of bondage again.
With ships.
With ships, slave ships, cargo slave ships, Shalonda, read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And there, Shalonda, when they took you from west coast of Africa, from the land of Jerusalem, from here, all through all these areas where our people had went into Africa and started settling. We went among the Hamites and started settling. The Hamites would be the so-called Africans that come over here that can't stand you, that braid your hair too tight, that talk about you. They different people. They different people. We look similar, but they're not the same. We come from a different man. We come from Shem, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. They come from Ham. That's a different man. You see, all black people are not the same. Just because they're your color, they don't mean they're your kind. So our people were brought here on slave ship, and when we got here, we were what?
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
What we not sold to? When we sold to our friends, what the white people friends to us? We were sold to our enemies. Thus saith the Lord. Read.
For bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man was able to redeem us out of there. We still here. Sister Shalonda, we still here. We have not been back to our homeland as yet. And when we ask our people, where we from? What's our nationality? What's our heritage? We don't know. But that's Bible prophecy. Give me Isaiah 1 and 3. Understand this. This is Bible prophecy. God knew these things would happen to us because we disobedient. We bad as hell. We his kids and we bad as hell. So he had to put the worst whooping that was ever created on us to get us to now. When you see the men out here really teaching you the Bible, thus saith the Lord, you need to stop and listen to them. So they can restore your heritage back to you. So you understand to come back and start keeping God's laws. Because we break God's laws all the time.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone, 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.